Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. 12-year-old boy killed, 13 others injured from an attack by suicide bombers on a mosque in Gwoza, Borno State. President Muhammadu Buhari orders deployment of air power against bandits, kidnappers and cattle rustlers operating in difficult terrains in Niger State and its environs. Leah Sharibu's father keeps mum over a report of his daughter's alleged marriage to a Boko Haram commander. Says all he wants is his daughter's safe return. And suspected Islamic militants killed 20 soldiers in Sokolo military camp in the central Segu region of Mali. Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. The Jigawa State Government has confirmed a new case of Lassa fever in Jaun local government area. According to the acting permanent secretary in the State Ministry of Health, Mr. Salisu Muazu, the victim, a staff of Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, is now being treated at the Isolated Infectious Disease Control Unit in Jaun Hospital. The man reportedly developed the fever symptoms following an official engagement at internally displaced persons camp in Borno State. Meanwhile, Ogun State government has denied reports of the death of a pregnant woman who tested positive to the deadly virus. A State Commissioner for Health told Channels Television that the victim has been transferred to the Federal Specialist Hospital in Irua, Edo State, for treatment.
As at about 7 p.m. on Friday evening, we had a confirmed case of Lassa fever in a 29-year-old pregnant lady who is responding well to treatment. She was transferred to Irua, the National Lassa Fever Treatment Center in Edo State yesterday, and as of this lunchtime, it was confirmed that she's doing well. Her and the baby, they're doing very well, so we're in control of that situation. And so far, what we're doing is sensitizing the community to actually observe good personal hygiene, wash their hands, cover their food, cook their food properly, and also if they notice anyone with fever, vomiting, diarrhea or body aches, they must come to the nearest federal or state hospital.
Well, there are also reports of suspected outbreaks in Osun and Kogi states. While one case has been reported in Osun, 4 of the 6 reported cases in Kogi state have tested positive and have been moved to the Infectious Disease Center in Edo State. In politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced results from yesterday's rerun elections into 28 federal and state constituencies held in 11 states across the country. The court had ordered that the rerun be conducted following various issues that emanated from the 2019 legislative elections.
Ahmed Madaki Gololo of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
A round of applause at the announcement of results from the Gamawa Federal Constituency rerun election in Bauchi State. The PDP garnered 21,223 votes, while the NNPP 15,004. The PDP also recorded victory in Zaki Federal Constituency over the APC.
Benjamin Musa Mbaka of CAP.
In Kaduna State, the prize belongs to the candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Kagaku constituency.
Anwe Comfort of PDP scored 19,815 votes.
The tables then turned in favor of the PDP as its candidate was declared winner of the rerun election in Sanga local government area. The biggest upset perhaps is in Kano State, where the former chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, and member of the APC, was defeated by his rival of the PDP. In the east, rerun elections were held in Abia and Imo states. In Abia, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, swept the polls at the Arochukwu State constituency, with the PDP coming through in second place. In Imo, the Action Alliance is declared winner by the electoral body INEC, ahead of the PDP and other parties. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress also won the election of the Okigwe North Federal Constituency rerun election by over 10,000 votes.
Oshunsaya Kolakbo Korede of APC party, having scored the required requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
The Southwest in the election results in Ogun State is in favor of the APC. These turn of events might be an indication that the political process might be heading in the intended direction, which is to provide fair outcome for proper scrutiny. Less than 24 hours after the rerun election in Imo State, the police have confirmed the killing of Mr. Ndubisi Emenike, senatorial candidate of the Action Alliance in Imo North Senatorial District in the just concluded rerun. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Orlando Ikyoku, says Mr. Emenike was shot dead by an official of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the NSCDC, during a celebration party held for the winner of the Okigwe North Federal Constituency, Miriam Onwoha of the APC. He says the NSCDC official is currently in police custody as the command has launched investigation into the ugly incident. The death of Ndubisi Emenike is coming a few weeks after the death of Senator Ben Uwajimogu, who also contested and won the Imo North Senatorial District election in 2019. There are concerns that the link between crime and development in African countries has not been adequately analyzed to allow firm conclusions to be made. In general, population growth, urbanization, industrialization, and modernization, as well as poverty, are deemed to be among the major factors influencing crime rates. Here in Nigeria, the police have been keeping record of cases of reported crime, while the National Bureau of Statistics has been tracking the number of unemployed persons. What do their findings reveal? As the question tonight, to share some insights on crime patterns in Nigeria, is Babajide Ogusanwo Channels TV's data and information analyst. Thank you for coming tonight.
Good evening, Amarachi.
Good evening. So, what do their findings reveal? Any evidence of what is influencing the rising cases of reported crime in Nigeria?
I'd like to start from a slightly different perspective. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. Aristotle. You talked about the causes, similar to the three things I would like to discuss tonight. The first is I'd like to talk about the illicit affair between crime and unemployment. And then I'd like to talk about the changing patterns in crime and how it affects you and all Nigerians. And finally, practical solutions. Let's take a look at the evidence we have from the Nigerian police on number of cases of reported crime and from the National Bureau of Statistics about unemployment. And if we focus on what is right in front of us, here's the conclusion. There's a 99% correlation between cases of unemployment and crime. So for instance, in 2008, the Nigerian police says there were 96,000 cases of reported crime. The same year when the NBS says there were 9.1 million unemployed Nigerians. Fast forward a decade after, 2017, we now have 35 million unemployed Nigerians and 136,000 plus cases of reported crime. What does all of this mean? It means that there's a strong correlation between unemployment. Indeed, a 99% correlation between the rising cases of unemployment and the rising cases of crime. But here's the conclusion. You cannot end crime only by policing. You need to create more jobs. The government does not create jobs. It's the private sector that creates jobs. And the private sector will not create more jobs without rising demand for goods and services from families. And so one way to solve the problem of crime is to consider arresting people. Well, another perhaps more intelligent way is to ask, how do we get Nigerians to spend more? Because if Nigerians spend more, then there will be more jobs by companies that create jobs, and then crime cases will reduce. So what do I mean? Joblessness needs to be arrested and be the one to be locked behind bars.
Okay, so you have looked at the pattern of crime, which you said is growing with unemployment in the country, but the federal and the state government have agreed on the need for maximum protection of lives and property. They're doing this through community policing. You suggest community policing. So what other countries with large populations like Nigeria, what are they doing apart from community policing?
So why
is that a major solution?
Let's quickly look at why are they doing community policing, and that's because crime rates is not just rising, crime patterns have changed. In 2008, for instance, based on that data that we have, if we take a look at that, we'll see that 63% of all cases of reported crime came from southern Nigeria, even though crime is still significantly underreported. But here's what you find. In 2008, those 61% of cases of reported crime came from the 17 states in the south. In 2017, 73% of reported crime cases now comes from the south. The insight means two things. The first is we see crime rate has increased, but crime pattern has changed. From 61% of reported crime cases in southern Nigeria in 2008 to the current rate of 73% of crime cases reported in the country. But you know, in the final analysis, we need to look at, yes, it is important, and yes, the government has done a lot of positive things by integrated policing, but what a lot of countries like China and India are doing is intelligence-led policing. In other words, predictive policing. Yeah. In the final words of Thomas Tosser, what a greater crime, time lost.
Food for thought. Babajide, thanks again. Always really interesting having you on the News at 10.
The pleasure is all mine.
Right. And when the News at 10 returns, residents of Takwa Bay flee their homes within the Atlas Cove axis of Lagos following ongoing joint military operation to end pipeline vandalism. Stay with us.